As flickered flame makes shadows bend, and smoke meets moonlight, cold and blue. When blackest night hails twilight's end, then darkness comes to beckon you. As hunger turns the flesh to fire, and breathing falters, reason halts, then creep the claws of dark desire to rip and split you at your faults.
Our heroes have left the Journey Halt Inn and are making their way to Veracasti, the ancestral home of the Vidira family, where Roddy was born. Veracasti sits at the base of the mountain, on top of which, on a bluff, is where the Vidira Manor sits. Odessa and Amarnis have joined you here. As we mentioned, there is the grounds. They are surrounded by the woods. There is a lake, a greenhouse. All of this you will discover in the morning of night. So I assume it's just, handing off everything to the servants and going to bed. So these are all things that you'll discover the next day as you walk around. There is a family graveyard on the grounds. The lake has a dock, and you can absolutely fish or swim. There's also a little lake house, for like changing purposes and things like that. The house itself is full of games. There are dartboards, there's a billiard room, there's cards, there's a droge set. It is a house that is quite old, but very merry. And you each have a room to yourselves. Cinza, your room in particular is this corner room. There is a little tower sort of window with a bench that you can sit on. And when you lay down in the bed for the first time to go to sleep, you can see that the ceiling is a beautiful blue, and it is sponge painted with white clouds. Ustalov's sky really only gets this way in the height of summer. So it's a beautiful thing that a lot of people culturally do to keep their spirits up when so much of the year is cloudy, rainy, and cold.
The first thing Mara was going to do is look at Cinza and go, I probably shouldn't be the one to talk to the good doctor. Would you mind?
Is that something you would feel comfortable with me doing instead? Is that what you're asking, or?
Well, the man that I remember was very open about knowledge and learning. So I thought that appealing to the academic in him would get us what we wanted. But either I was misguided or something has changed. And I no longer think that someone with a vested interest in the sanitarium would be the best messenger for what we need to do.
Understood. Sure, I suppose we should sit down and devise the best plan of attack, as it were, or try to figure out what would be a better alternate. I mean, it would appear that you know him, even if it's a version of him from the past, you know him better than the rest of us, but I'm happy to try to make the connection.
I'll think back. The minute the sanitarium was brought up, even just in a academic curiosity, in a thought, he shifted entirely. He became almost cold.
You're right. I think, because I went with you for that conversation.
Yes.
I was privy to the whole thing.
You were standing right there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we fully chit-chatted about that. I think Cinza's maybe a little taken aback that she's being asked to once again kind of spearhead a conversation that is extremely important. Like, oh dang, I wasn't prepared to be the adulty adult in this one either.
You're 612, step up.
But just above table, GM, if you don't mind, we need to get into the sanitarium to the West Wing to look at things for Odessa, correct?
So Emmerich wants you guys to establish the laboratory there because no one will bother you. It has a dock, so the lazarite can be transported directly to the laboratory without ever having to change hands. And it's just a large medical space. So It is the 100% most logical choice, the first and best and potentially only option.
Okay. And he got real frustrated. Yeah, he got real frustrated when you specifically brought up the North Wing.
Yes, and so the North Wing is abandoned. That's where Emmerich wants it established. Not just Misthaven in general. Doesn't want you to like rent a room there, but actually to just take over the North Wing. One of the things that Daedric mentioned to you guys is that you didn't understand the gravity of what you were asking, and you were not being respectful of the history either. So while those nuances might have been lost on Morrow, I don't know if they necessarily would have been, especially with more time to contemplate, lost on Cinza.
I feel like given more time to contemplate, she may not have necessarily understood the nuance, but she's arrived at kind of the same location where there is something here that he doesn't want us to see, whether that be because of historical reasons or secret reasons or whatever. There's something funky.
So I'd like to invite our audience to imagine something. We are going to be following Wik and Cinza. And as they learn things, imagine that in the magistrate's public records office, Morrow and Thistle are uncovering the same things, or at least the public-facing version of those things.
Okay.
So we are going to take Wik and Cinza to Misthaven Sanitarium. Misthaven Sanitarium sits in the middle of the wide Glittergrave River. A 4-story tall castle of gray-white blocks with dark, wave-drenched boulders built around the island. The island has a small dock barely visible through the mist, illuminated with soft purple light from lanterns hung along the railing. You can make out 2 small ferry boats docked there, presumably for emergency transport. For those on foot, Misthaven connects to the mainland via a stone bridge and a gatehouse managing traffic in and out. The gates are open during the day, and the guards check visitors as they approach. While the outside of the sanitarium is featureless and severe, the entrance is warm and inviting. There is a large round desk in the center of the room with various doors leading off to different areas of the hospital. The air is fresh, mingling smells of floral perfume, citrus, and freshly baked bread. There are fresh flowers and plants as decorations, and a life-size black basalt statue in an alcove of a serene-faced girl wearing simple robes, her hands folded in prayer. Behind her, a giant plume of peacock feathers fanned out, carved with humanoid eyes instead of eye-like markings usually seen on peacock tails, and there is a plaque at the base of the statue. As you stand in the atrium, I will give you a moment if you would like to look around or to read the plaque.
I mean, I'm definitely gonna glance closer at the plaque and the statue because I would also like to know how much the peacock feathers and eyes remind of the eyes on the Omen dragon.
Great question. Okay, so go ahead and give me a religion check real quick.
I feel like I have a thing. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. 19. Not great.
It's not great. So you are looking at this figure and you are not entirely familiar, but you're pretty sure that this is a a psychopomp, usher, one of the deities who serve Pharasma in her court. You are mostly believing this because the eyes are covered, and that's pretty much everybody who operates in the boneyard, except for Pharasma herself, tends to wear masks that cover the eyes. The plaque reads, "Exalted Sister Atropos, guide our lost children to your courts, that we may one day be reunited." And that prayer is followed by a list of about 30 names. And at this point, you can give me a society check. And of course, Wik, you are welcome to do this as well if you are reading the plaque.
And what was it was Exalted Sister Atropos?
Atropos, yes.
Atropos.
Atropos.
POS. And then guide our children.
Guide our lost children to your courts, that we may one day be reunited.
I rolled a 24 in society.
24 society. How about for Cinza?
As soon as there we go. I can give you that now. Ooh, boy. That is a 26.
Perfect. So, as the two of you are reading over these names, several of them seem to have the same last name. And the first name listed is a woman's name. Sometimes they're both women, but always a woman's name first. And as you two are looking at this and contemplating what this might mean, you hear a very friendly voice behind you. "Hello, dears.
Oh.
Are you all right? Didn't mean to scare you."
I think Cinza looks at Wik, I think no, we were just examining the gestures at the statue behind.
Oh, yes. The church donated that to us, when the tragedy. Oh, help you.
I'm sorry, which tragedy would that be?
Oh, well. Oh, it's nothing we need to discuss here. Not certainly now. I do apologize.
Oh, no, I apologize. I shouldn't have asked.
We're just not from here, and this was interesting. It seemed like a beautiful gesture in honoring. I think she kind of again makes a gesture down towards the black lost ones. So forgive if that was out of turn.
No, of course. We get people from all over come to the hospital for their bumps and scrapes or something more dire. No. Everything's fine, dears. Don't worry. Would you like a cardamom bun? And she lifts up the plate of cardamom buns to you. They're fresh from the oven.
Oh, yes, please.
Definitely an after you gesture, knowing Wik's gonna go for it.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah, and as a halfling herself, I think she holds it out to you first, Wik, before offering it up to Cinza.
Thank you kindly, Marm. Appreciate it.
Of course. Now, what can I do for you?
Well, we were here hoping to set a meeting with Dr. Daedric, something we had kind of discussed a little more informally, what would be about a week ago by now. And he said that if we wanted to have further discussion, we should make a formal inquiry about getting on his schedule.
Should have known by the looks of you. Yes, I was told to keep my eye out for you. Let me see if somebody can take you back.
That would be incredibly appreciated. I'm so sorry, what was your name?
Matron Helena Hearthtrout. Nice to meet you.
An absolute pleasure. Gives a slight, hand over the chest bow. Cinza Duchan, this is my associate with Bloomberry.
Sure.
Well,
nice to see you.
Should we follow you? Should we wait here until someone might be able to take us back? Or do we just need to sign
Me do. You'll be run ragged. I go up and down this place 50 times a day. No. You rest, take a seat. We'll have somebody come back to get you.
That's fantastic. Very generous. We appreciate that. Such hospitality.
Well, do not be too much. I'll have you change your bedclothes in a minute.
I'm sure I wouldn't be able to get them nearly as prim and tight as expected for the hospital, so I'll leave it to the experts.
Wonderful. So she goes back as the matron, the head nurse. She is not lying. She has a lot of responsibilities. You see orderlies coming up to her, etc. She sends somebody away to let them know that you are here. And after about 10 minutes, a woman comes to collect you. Rather than an orderly, nurse, or secretary, as you might have been anticipating, this woman is clearly a doctor, with a cold, haughty air about her. You see a heavy leather apron under her white coat, and everything she wears is pristine. You see that she is a half-elf, though extremely pale, and has a yellow, waxy sort of pallor to her skin and the icy blue eyes of a huntress. I will take you to see Dr. Daedric.
Much appreciated. Thank you so much for the promptness. Shall we follow, or?
Yes. And she turns and starts walking down the hall.
I think Cinza looks down at Wik, kind of one of those sidelong, like, oh, geez, kind of looks.
Yeah. And yeah, same. We just had this such warm hospitality entrance too.
Yeah.
Such a contrast.
I think just out of like, hey, Cinza hangs back just far enough and kind of leans down, and out of the side of her mouth murmurs just so Wik can hear. Wonder what her bedside manner's like.
And this doctor will take you to Dr. Daedric's office. You see he does have a couple secretaries outside. They have their desks, and will open the door to Daedric's office to allow you in. They're here. And Dr. Daedric says, oh, thank you, Dr. Velstrom. I appreciate you taking the time. And the whole time you guys were walking, she was taking looks over her shoulder, sidelong looks, really clocking you guys, checking you all up and down. And at that point, she will leave you. Do come in.
Enter. We'll shut the door behind respectfully if necessary, and we'll wait till be told to sit, as is polite.
Absolutely, yeah. He will sit at his large desk and indicate the chairs so that you both can have a seat. So,
Yep.
I have been expecting at least one of you.
Yes. Well, you suggested the appropriate way to have a discussion would be to go through the appropriate channels, and we wanted to honor that.
I appreciate your care. I apologize, and he addresses you. Dr. Ryan Daedric, I'm the Chief of Medicine at Misthaven Sanitarium.
Oh, a pleasure. I'm Wik Bloomberry, emissary on behalf of the Montgriefs.
Yes, you've been with them for some time, haven't you?
A good number of years, yes.
Yes. Well, your associate, Miss Ventori, mentioned you were interested in the history of our North Wing. Does she speak for all of you?
I know that this is like a moment that this feels like a moment to tread carefully. Like this is almost a bit of a trap. I would like to say that no, she doesn't speak for all of us, though there is interest. And by that I mean I think perhaps her interest may have come from a different place, if that makes sense.
Well, you then invite me to ask, where does your interest come from?
One that would hopefully see the come from a practical standpoint, I suppose.
And What is your body language like at this point?
I think she's sitting. This is like falling back into noble conversation training. You know, she is trying to. She knows she's very tall. Obviously, he has too, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
He's very, very tall. But she is, you know, she's sitting upright. You know, but not trying to like, not in a way that is trying to big time him the way, you know, you sit higher than the other person to, you know, be from a position of power. She's sitting upright, her hands are folded. She is trying to give a sort of respectful, business-like, I'm here to have a conversation on your terms. That's what she's trying to exude, is like, I am trying to let you guide this, and I'm trying to make sure that I am doing everything in accordance with what does not disrespect you. And I think she reinforces that by following up her previous sentence with practical and respectful.
You are barely out of school. Just starting out in the world. I should grant you more grace, I think. There was a time in my life when that was much easier for me, but time weighs on the heart, and it sinks ever lower. Some tea, perhaps.
I think, looking again at Wik, I think we would be delighted to partake if you are offering.
Very well.
And he will make polite conversation with you both. Where are you from? What is your background? Do you have any interest in medicine? The normal sort of getting to know you conversation, while waiting for the tea, which does not take long at all. And the orderly will pour everybody out, and we'll move the conversation to, this is a very large office. There's a sofa to sit on and a couple chairs and things. And so he'll sit in a straight back chair. You two can sit on the sofa.
May I ask above table if there's anything I would surmise that would be just a really stupid idea to bring up in this conversation? Like stuff that Emmerich may have briefed us on beforehand, stuff that like, and this is mostly coming from me as the player being a little less familiar with this world asking.
So, Emmerich doesn't want anybody to know about the Lazarite or the artificial Lazarite. The cover story is that this is an archaeological dig. So he would not necessarily be pleased if you brought that up. Obviously, asking him about his questionable age might be awkward.
Sure.
But other than that, I will say that he has acknowledged that he is willing to give you a little bit of leeway here. Mm-hmm. So I think this is the perfect time if you want to ask something that is potentially out of pocket to at least try.
Okay. Or
asking, just one quick thing. I have, when I leveled up, I got a new feat, and of all things, this was the most Wik thing, is I have a feat called Super Taster.
Love
where
Super Taster.
I can
Amazing.
taste something, and I have such a refined palate that I can pinpoint every single ingredient in what I'm eating or drinking.
Perfect.
And I would like to use this on the tea.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like I would be able to, if something was odd in it, I would be able to tell, right?
Oh, completely. Yes. So
yes, definitely.
Yeah. So do you put any milk or any honey in your tea?
None.
Okay. So just taking it as it is. So the water you would assume was from the river and boiled. The tea itself is a combination of black tea, which generally is grown in Tian Sha, and comes over the crown of the world to you. You can also taste there is some medicinal herbs in here, particularly that deal with joint inflammation. So it is fortified with some extra herbs, but the majority of the flavor coming through is of black tea with a little bit of a herbaceous, maybe piney sort of cedary taste to it.
I will continue drinking it. Sounds lovely.
I feel like there was one other question I was going to ask.
Something potentially out of pocket?
No, above table type stuff, I guess, or I guess, because I think it would be silly to assume that we haven't talked about a potential cover story for why we need the labs. Go ahead.
Yes. So that's the rub, right?
If you're okay with it and everybody else is okay with it, me doing this in this sort of meta way right now, if the cover story, if everybody's interested in the cover story, perhaps being, since this is an archaeological dig, needing the lab for discerning artifacts and testing of artifacts and things like that, and soil sampling and stuff. I feel like that sounds like a reasonable thing.
Absolutely, and I feel like we could probably play off Morrow's incompetence before as, you know what, she knew we were gonna ask about it for this reason, and she just got really excited about the history and about learning new things, and she messed up and overstepped, and we don't condone what she did, and try to play it like we're on your side when it comes to Morrow, and we will handle her, try to distance Morrow as far from this as possible, given how drastic the reaction was last time.
I think that also in trying to investigate the history of the sanatorium kind of fits in with this archaeological story as well. Like, of course we're looking for history.
Perfect.
Sure. And just a small point, there is a difference between a sanatorium and a sanitarium. Sanatoriums are for mental health, sanitarium is for physical. So this is a physical hospital. Just so you guys don't get confused, about what is what.
Perfect.
Okay, so before you start to explain, Cinza, go ahead and roll me a deception check. You will have a +1 circumstance bonus because you have Wik with you. I'm not going to make Wik roll.
Okay. Not my worst thing. Hot diggity.
19 on the die plus 1 is 20 plus 13, 33.
33. Okay. So you are going to start explaining, and I want you to explain in a way that at first it is believable.
At first it is believable.
And then you can take a pause because you're going to be interrogated a little bit. But for the time being, assume that you are speaking what Daedric believes to be true.
Okay. May I have? Would it be, because I did also want to ask a question about the statue out front. Is that something
Please.
that could still be done after, or should I ask that question now?
Whenever you want.
Okay. Then before she launches into, and right after she's kind of given a slight pass by being like, "You're young, I'll give you a little leeway." They get the tea, and as they all kind of settle in, I just out of curiosity, we in the sort of the main foyer, just that beautiful statue of the woman with the feathers and the eyes and the matron. She mentioned that it was a gift from a church.
Yes, the Hall of the Veiled Mothers. Very old, very sacred church of Pharasma here in Pale Gleam, the center of the worship of Vesper Holt The usher depicted in the statue is Sister Atropos. She is a psychopomp usher known as the Judge of Judges, and many of us take her to be Phrasma's spiritual daughter. She's not often talked about in main Phrasman worship, so a common layperson may not be familiar with her. It is the charge of dear Sister Atropos to judge the souls which did not have enough time to make their own decisions. A harrowing prospect which we thank her for.
I think almost unintentionally, before she could stop herself, Cinza, in a moment of like dawning realization of what he said, and it's like, children. Having read that word on the plaque.
The gift itself was given to the hospital about 180 years ago now, and he can give you the exact date. It is known, when it is spoken of, though it is rarely spoken of, as the Night of Silenced Screams. And at this point, the camera cuts away to Morrow and Thistle, who are looking up the reports of this event. But Cinza and Wik, you can get the information directly from the source.
A name like that doesn't exactly exude positive feelings.
It does not.
A tragedy, then.
Indeed. So rare for Vesperholt. The hospital was fairly well established, over 100 years old at that point. Older then than it is now. There was an attack in the middle of the night, a break-in, several undead. I was away at the time, giving a lecture. Maybe the very same lecture I met your Miss Venturi at, who can say. But I was not here, and there was a great loss of life. Lady Ayana Vidira was cold. Her and a hedge knight, another champion of Eridan, as it happens, happened to be here that night, and together they stopped the undead menace, but the loss of life was great. That area of the hospital was shut down, and the Baroness Vesperholt did much to raise funds to build new wings of the hospital. Call it the North Wing now. And it is closed.
That is a tragedy. The gears are spinning in Cinza's head of like, Jesus Christ, how the fuck am I gonna suddenly be... So anyway, we want to use that shit.
Here's what I'll say. I know I already made you roll, and that's fine. He sees you processing this. You had steeled yourself to sell this story. You'd practiced it. You were ready, and maybe it would have worked. But hearing this and being so off the back foot, he will take the opportunity to push himself. So you can understand that not only is the North Wing a stain on our history, but a rather sensitive topic for myself, as a caretaker, as a guardian of health and life
You will forgive me if I was short with your companion. You came here for a reason. I will not dissuade you from your task. And I do not presume to speak down to you, Miss Dukhan. I know the dangers of underestimation, especially of the young. What do you need from me, Cinza?
Well, let me preface by saying that the Lady Morrow sends her deepest apologies for her incessance and pressure for you to divulge more than you are comfortable with. The other day, she and I have discussed it at length. She does feel terrible, and she would like you to know, and that is in part why she's not here right now. She felt as though her presence would be continued disrespect, and she wanted to ensure that this conversation happened without that moment hanging over our heads. Whether you accept that apology or not is entirely up to you, but I was just asked to convey that message. I would also I would also like to secondarily preface that I hope you understand that I am carrying out a task asked of me as we, gesturing between Wik and herself, are in Emmerich Moncrief's employ. And I cannot stress enough that we want to be as respectful as we can of this incident and of your time and your space and this storied building that has been in your care for so long. I will fully admit, to lend a bit of vulnerability to the situation, that after hearing what happened, I feel like a bit of a fiend for having to ask this question in the first place. But as you may have seen, the perpetual storm over Skytear Island has subsided, and that is due in part to the efforts of myself, of Wik, and our other two companions, Morrow and Thistle. We have gotten the permission from Lady Radia to utilize that portion of Skytear as an archaeological dig site, and we were looking for a place to set up a laboratory where we might be able to send the samples, the archaeological finds, and do further testing on them. And without any of the information you just shared, I was set with the task of asking if perhaps the North Wing might be something open to us, that we might be able to utilize for our setup and our purposes. And I think she's doing her best to convey a sense of like, I really fucking hate that I have to ask this after what you told me, but I'm just kind of doing my job. Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah.
That's kind of what she's trying to exude right now.
Okay. And he looks over at Wik. How's Wik doing?
Wik is letting Cinza take the lead. He's sipping on tea and kind of just digesting the exact same feeling. Like this is a horrible thing happened here, and oh no.
We're just doing our jobs, man.
It's got a great dock out the back. We won't bother anybody. That's
Exactly.
what we were hoping for.
A man such as the professor. The practicalities of not having to parade crates through the streets. I can understand that. And yet, The North Wing is not just abandoned. It is haunted. And I believe that your professor knows this. And judging by your face, I don't believe that you did.
An astute assessment, Doctor. But it would not be the first time. And I think, again, looking at Wik for confirmation, like for backup on this, it wouldn't be the first time we've been sent into a situation and left to find out the finer points for ourselves. And she smiles in a kind of, like, this is, yep.
We're used to this.
Yeah. And a kind of like a like, it's got a tinge of fucking course he didn't tell us, god damn it, like to it.
Well, some men think best on their feet. Some strike the hardest when they have one hand behind their back. It is one way to live. But I am a doctor. I cannot survive on assumption. I need proof. Why do you need to be here?
I can tell you, well, you've already determined that we weren't exactly the best informed when it came to the nature of the spirits residing in the location in question. So all I can tell you is what I've been told to ask, what Wik has been told to ask. It is my understanding that there is testing that Emmerich has a team in to take care of when it comes to these artifacts, soil samples, various testing to make sure the artifacts aren't magically dangerous. But he is certain that there is a bed of historical and archaeological abundance, let's say, for lack of a better word, on Skytear. And he wants a safe place filled with the appropriate equipment. And I think that, again, she kind of holds her hands up in a disarming way. Again, it is our understanding that he selected a place that fit the bill, a place that would not interfere with the current goings-on of the hospital, that would not, that would be out of the way, and that, as you said, would not draw the attention that carting crates of objects and material from Skytear Island, a place that has been considered largely off limits to the people of this area for some time, that sort of attention might draw.
I will also add that you as a doctor have quite an impeccable reputation around the town and the hospital as a whole. This was the #1 location that was given to us and thought of in terms of doing business with.
Daedric's face stays pointed at Wik when he says this, but his eyes go to Cinza. His mouth is downturned. There's a disappointment on his face. He says, "You serve him well, your professor." Compelling logic with a dash of sweetness. Impeccable combination. And he stands up and walks back to the window behind his desk and looks out at the mists beyond. You should know I despise chicanery. We all have our own version of the truth, and that I do not begrudge anyone for. There is a difference. Very wide chasm of difference. If you are going to be here, if you are going to live in that house and keep the company that you keep, I can promise you that dishonesty, intentional dishonesty, narratives spun for selfish benefit, will be revealed in time. It's not a threat that Daedric is offering you, Cinza and Wik, when you look into his eyes. It's a plea.
I think Cinza studies his face, which I know has got to be just locked down. I'm sure he's and she nods, kind of that sort of soft, like, understood kind of nod. Is there something we could do for those that still walk the halls? Something to help them?
Help. If there are souls left behind, release them. If they are merely echoes of pain, quiet them. But we have kept them at bay these 90 years. I am in no mood to rile them up so that your professor can catalog ancient history. If there's nothing else.
I do want to ask, what about locking the doors and throwing away the key helps anything either?
Look around you. We will do whatever is necessary to protect the people of Esperhold. This is a singular place of healing, of refuge from the wicked world. We have our pockets, pain, and we do not inflict them on others. I'm sorry to disappoint you. If you would like to appeal to the board, I am not the only voice. We do things by majority here. I am not a tyrant, just a doctor.
I think Cinza stands at that, having finished her tea, and sort of neatly stacks the cup and saucer, pushes it towards the center of the coffee table, and stands, approaches respectful distance. Understood. And I do hope that it is understood that we're just doing what was asked of us, and I don't harbor any ill feelings towards your decision. It is understandable, given what happened. I hope you understand that we will probably attempt to appeal, if only because that is the task set before us. And I don't wish to cause any trouble for you, or the people of Esperholt, or anything of the sort. I want by the unfortunate souls that experience tragedy in the North Wing. I think she sticks her hand out to shake at that, just again, kind of offering like a kind of a gesture of goodwill.
He will take your hand in turn. And you see him move. It's almost as if he wants to like hug you for a moment. He doesn't. And he reiterates the statement that he made earlier. You make him very proud.
You flatter me. And I don't think she says that in any sort of way that implies that she believes that that was a compliment. I think she picked up what he was putting down.